Hello everyone, in this video I talk about my experience of using the Ricoh GR3 versus GR2, with some photos I took using the GR3 at the end of this video. I reviewed GR2 a while ago and had pretty good experience with it, so I expected GR3 to be better, but I have been disappointed since day one. The GR3 has several improvements over GR2 in terms of spec, such like the increased megapixel, smaller form factor, in-body stabilization, refined lens which is sharper and has closer focus distance for macro photography. But in terms of street photography, megapixels isn't that important. Smaller body depends on how you feel about it. People with large hand may prefer GR2 over GR3, and the GR2 is already small enough. In-body stabilization is useful in certain scenarios, but not very much for street photography. Improved lens. The lens on GR2 is already good enough, and minimum focus distance isn't very practical for street photography either. Improved autofocus. Well, I don't have GR2 and 3 at the same time for comparison, but from memory of using GR2, I don't think there's a big improvement in terms of autofocus speed, especially when you are a Panasonic Micro Four Thirds user, which I am. The face detection autofocus on GR3 is still not as good as Panasonic's DFD, which is faster and more accurate. In general, none of these improvements is the deciding factor for street photographers to choose GR3 over GR2. Now let's look at its downsides. I won't say the smaller form factor is a downside because it's purely subjective. Some people like it, some people don't. However, the reduced battery life is definitely a downside. No one would complain about longer battery life. The removal of flash, well, I don't use flash that much for street photography, but I know there are people who shoot that way, especially in the evening. I suspect the removal of flash is more or less related to the battery life, because the standard for battery life determined by CIPA is that the number of shutter counts taken with flash turned on. So without the flash, the battery life is 200 according to Ricoh. If there is a flash, then the battery life might drop to 100 something, which looks very bad by today's standard. I tried to make the battery last longer by turning off everything that I don't need, including sensor cleaning while turning on or off the camera, any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connectivity, in-body stabilization. I also turned on the screen auto dim as well as auto power off, so basically I use it the same way as GR2. Now the question is, having said all this, why don't I just use GR2 instead of GR3? This is a valid point which concludes the video today. There are two happiest moments I had with GR3, the time I bought it and the time I sold it. Thank you for watching, see you next time.